So I've now completed a full month of DoorDashing. In other words, 4 full weeks of DoorDashing. And each week I had a different strategy that I wanted to test out and see what kind of results I would get. The first week was obviously get familiar with it because I'd never done it before. But also first week I just wanted to make as much money as possible. So I blocked out everything else for that week and just said, I'm DoorDashing this week. Let's see how much money I can make. That was $1,900 in just that first week. If you haven't seen that video already, I recommend that you watch it. I share a lot of tips and tricks that I learned that are really good ones to know. That was, roughly, I think it was a little bit over $35 an hour with gas and everything deducted. So not bad for first week DoorDashing. The next 3 weeks, I switched up strategies. I'm gonna break down in this video all the earnings from each week and what the strategy was for that week and what kind of results it led to. Welcome DoorDash fam. I'm the best dasher alive, aka Young Money Dash Money. Week 1, the strategy was get used to the app, learn the ropes, and make as much money as possible. For a much more in-depth how that week went, everything I learned, complete, full, thorough breakdown, go watch the video titled $1,900 my first week DoorDashing. Week 2, I decided to switch it up a little bit. Just wanted to see if week 2 I could become more efficient through being pickier about which orders I'm accepting. And this is where I'm going to say if you think your acceptance rate is super important and you need to keep it really high, go watch my first video. I talk all about that, or a lot about that, because you don't need to worry too much about your acceptance rate. In week 2, I started doing that a lot more and just decided I'm going to get pickier with which orders I accept and basically reject most of them. Week 3, I wanted to add, on top of being pickier, being a little bit lazier. And then week 4, I increased the laziness a little bit more, and I said I'm only gonna DoorDash if I'm already headed out doing something, and if orders come in, good ones, I'll take them, and if they keep coming in, I'll keep taking them. But if not, then I'm just headed home and calling it quits until I'm headed back out for whatever reason for the next time, and then I'll turn DoorDash on and see how it goes. So week 1, I made $1,900 7 cents, and that was in 50.69 active hours. And I want to mention right here, I got a comment on the first week I DoorDash video that I did, trying to explain to me that my active hours aren't my working hours, and that is true and it's not true. And I did explain that in that first video when I recorded it, but decided to cut it out just because it was a little lengthy, and I figured people could kind of piece this together themselves. But for whatever it's worth, yes, your active hours is not 100% accurate as far as your time spent working, because sometimes you're just sitting there waiting for orders and you're in a parking lot somewhere, and that would be considered working. Like if you're sitting in a parking lot in your car, not really doing what you would want to be doing at that moment, just sitting there waiting for the next order, yeah, I would consider that work time. But like I explained in my first video, I'm in a spot in a location where I can't actually sit from home and get orders because there's food places close by. So lots of times I'm sitting at home working on a different project, working on a different video, honestly doing other pieces of work that I do to make money while I'm watching orders come in and deciding if I'm going to take it or not. So basically, when I calculate things out in my market and how I'm doing things, I mix some personal things into my active time, and then the time that's not included in active time that most people would include in work time, I'm excluding some of that time because I'm at home chilling, or I'm walking my dog, or I'm shopping, or just mixing personal time into my DoorDash inactive time is what they call it. But basically all that just to say, like, for me, my active time is actually really close to what my actual time spent working is. But your active time may be, you might have to add a lot more time on top of that to actually have a good, accurate picture of what your true working time is. Gas on week 1, I explained this more in my first video, but I only spent $71.84. That was 1 tank of gas. I rode an e-bike that whole week. That's another thing I started to do more as the weeks went on, is spend more time in my car just to see how that goes and less time on an e-bike. And also I need to try and let my wrist heal too, and e-bike's not great for that. But my true profit with gas deducted for week 1 was $1,828.23 with a $36.07 hourly wage. Week 2 is where I tried to be a lot pickier. Pickier in 2 specific ways. One, trying to take more orders that drop me off in zone or around hotspots. And that does definitely work and is definitely a strategy you want to be using. Not to say that every single time something takes you outside of the zone, it doesn't make sense. No, there are some good ones that take you outside of the zone, but that's why I just wanted to get pickier and start learning and being a little bit more choosy about what routes I take. And then the second way I wanted to be pickier was just trying to take bigger orders. So my first week I was, there were some $5, $6 orders, plenty of $7, $8, $9 orders that I was taking. The second week I wanted to be pickier and try and pick bigger orders. Kind of set 9 as my minimum and really trying to be taking like $10. I wanted to see 2 digits in front of the decimal point. So $10 and up is really what kind of orders I wanted to be taking. So for week 2, I earned $1,540.90. So that's about $350 less than week 1. Active hours was 39.89. So week 1 was roughly 50 active hours and week 2 was roughly 40 active hours. So for 10 active hours less, I made $300 less. I spent $40 on gas week 2. So week 2, I was almost still 100% just on an e-bike, putting my true profit at $1,509.76, which put the hourly wage at right around $37.85. And so I would say that yes, you can be pickier, but after this week 2, I kind of started to learn sometimes I was a little too picky. And so, I took it a little too far. And so now going into week 3, I know, I can definitely be pickier than I was and should be pickier than I was week 1. But also, week 2, I made some mistakes learning and being too picky that hopefully moving forward, I'll make less of those mistakes or none of those mistakes. And then the main thing I switched up in week 3 was I went mainly to my car. I still use the e-bike a chunk, but the majority of it, probably like 65% of the time, I now spent in my car this week. So week 3, my earnings were $1,517.40. So that's basically the exact same I made in week 2. My active hours were 37.6 hours. So I spent a couple less hours working week 3 for about the same amount of money as week 2. But I was in my car, and so gas this time was $300.18. And so my true profit is $1,217.22, putting my true wage, my hourly rate, at about $32.37. So week 2 and week 3 were pretty similar, except for week 2 was on an e-bike, week 3 was in a car. And because of that, my hourly rate was different, $37.85 on an e-bike, $32.37 in a car. My true profit was about $300 less. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So gas, because of gas, I lost $300 more. If I was on an e-bike that week, I would have kept about $300 more. And week 4, like I said, this is where I really scaled it kind of all the way back to I'm only going to turn on DoorDash when I'm already out and about. I'm not going to go out of my way to try and, make extra time to do DoorDash. Just if I'm out, I'm turning it on. If the orders come in, good ones come in, great. I'll DoorDash until they're not coming in anymore. And so for this week 4, I made $1,211.68, and that was in 31.85 active hours. So for week 4, I worked about 7 to 9 hours less and made about $300 less. Gas was about the same, $288.38, so $12 less there than the week before. My true profit was $923.03, and my wage was $28.99. So week 4, still being a little bit lazier, still being pickier, and really only doing it when I'm already headed out to do something. My hourly wage went down, but I was still able to make an extra grand, basically a little under $1,000 in a week. I call that like pretty casual door dashing. If I'd done what I did week 1, the next 3 weeks, just do everything I can to make as much money as possible, these numbers would be higher. And I do want to do 2 more tests at some point. I'd like to redo 1 full week trying to make as much money as I can. Now that I've done it a little bit longer, and see if I can beat that first week. I'm pretty sure I should be able to, just because I've learned a lot more at this point and got more familiar with it and better at picking routes and all that. And then also I'd like to do a full month where I see how much I can make on DoorDash. And I'd like to see if it's possible to clear 10 grand in a month just from DoorDash. I think that would be pretty amazing to do. Definitely would have to step it up and some magic would have to happen, but I think that would be like a fun challenge to try and achieve. So the monthly totals from these 4 weeks: earnings $6,179.05, $700.50 spent on gas, which puts my total profits at $5,478.55 in 160 active hours. And inactive hours total was 359. So that's to give you an idea of how much extra time I had the app on. But like I explained at the beginning of the video, those are not working hours. I don't look at them at all that way, because I am literally doing other work or just entertaining myself while those hours are happening. So anyways, but just including that statistic so you guys have it. And so the hourly wage is $38.62 per hour for the month. And then if we adjust it with the gas deductions, that puts it at $34.24 per hour. So roughly for that full month, let's call it $35 an hour and $5,500 in profit, testing out all those different strategies.